Hello everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to this video, where I will be talking about input and output operations with files, and I will be brief because there are also another tools that are very useful. However, let's know the basics of input-output operations with files in Python.
2 miles in altitude, 6 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center already, traveling 500 miles an hour.
Okay, files can be opened by using the function open, which takes two arguments. The first one is the file address or the file name, and the second is the opening mode. And there are some modes that I already have here that are the most common and useful ones. One of the two files that I'll be covering here is the txt file, so the text file, and we can generate using Python 1. Let's write data file and assign it to the function that I mentioned earlier, the open, and let's pass two arguments. The first one, let's write the, for example, file txt, and then the opening mode. We'll use w+. And since that I don't have this file in my directory, it will be creating a new one. And also another note that it is important to know here, if you don't specify the opening mode, it will be opening in read mode. Let's run it. And if we type our data file, we'll get information about our file. So the name, the mode, the encoding, and we can also check it like name or data file mode, and it will retrieve the name and mode of our file. And every time you open a file, you should close it. And whether you need to know that if it is open or closed, you can write data file.closed, and it will say it's false because it is open, but if it is closed, it will be true. Okay, but before closing, let's create some data to add to our file. So let's create some products. So I just created a few products with the product ID, the name and the price. And now we'll use join to create a single string for each row of list data and write it into a file. So for line in products, we have 4 lines, right? Data file, right, then join a line. So what I'm doing here is to catch each line in products and write it into the data file with the line break and the elements separated by comma, and I will join a line. Let's do it. And now that we have our data inside our file, we can write data file dot close, and then we can verify if the data file is really closed. Okay, our data file is closed. Great. Now to check our data, we can open again in read mode. So data open file txt, then read mode. Let's verify our data. This file txt and read mode, and now let's print our data read, and it is the data that we created and use it in the file. So now before moving to the next one, let's close our file. Great. Now let's go to CSV files. So it is almost the same thing. So the logic is the same. CSV files are a particular useful file format for data scientists. To easily handle CSV files, we can use the CSV package, which we need to import first. And we also will import the Numpy. So import CSV and import Numpy. With Numpy, we will generate a random matrix of numbers. So let's do it. Just to generate data for our CSV file, numpy.random, then 5x5 matrix. Oops. We can print our matrix just to check it. Okay. And now let's create a file for our matrix, and we'll use again open to create the file because this file doesn't exist yet. Matrix.csv double plus. So now I will create a writer object which is responsible for converting the user's data into delimited strings on a given file-like object. To do that, let's write wr assigned to csv.writer, then file, so to our file. And now we can use this object to write all the elements in rows. To do that, let's write wr.write rows. Which rows? The ones in your matrix. Now we can close our file. So once again, let's verify that our file is closed. Okay. Now let's create a new variable to open our matrix file. To do that, let's say data assigned to open, then matrix.csv, then in read mode. Now to read the data inside our CSV file, we can create a new variable CSV and assign it to the csv.reader and read the data. Now let's create a new, let's say, data list. Why? Because we will append our data here. So for each row in CSV data list append row, and now we can print our data. And that's all in this video. These are the basics to open and close and also put some information inside TXT and CSV files. And in the next video, we'll start talking about classes before going to Python libraries. So see you there. If you are new, consider subscribing and smash the like button, and see you in the next video.